Hey YouTube, it's me, it's the man who likes to RENT, dropping a fresh VID for you today, and this video is going to be a little shorter and a little less formal than what I normally do for you guys, but I want to take the time to address a topic going around in WWE that hasn't drawn the ire of wrestling fans the way I think it should. Ire means anger, just in case you didn't know. It's the fact that WWE is going around telling all higher up executives, and by extension all road agents, the people who go out and will scout talent or will help with the booking process, that wins and losses no longer matter in regards to professional wrestling. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that at its very base, this is in fact an extremely true statement. Since wrestling matches are scripted and storylines are scripted, it shouldn't matter who wins and loses, because it's all about telling the story. However, from a fan perspective, I think there should be a lot more emphasis put on who does win and who does lose a match. Think about it. How difficult is it to get behind a wrestler who loses as much as they win? If you can predict whether a wrestler you like is going to win or lose a match simply based on what week it is and where we're falling on the rotation, is it your turn to win or lose, you've really made your fan base exceedingly disinterested. And let's not forget that wrestling calls itself sports entertainment. That should mean that we are sports first, because wrestlers are athletes. I don't care whether you think wrestling's fake or what your stance is. If you're young, you probably still believe that it's real. I don't know. But you should believe, at the very least, that what these people go out and do, be it men, women, big men, small men, you can't do what they do without having some form of athleticism. Now, in the PG era, WWE is focusing more on story and entertainment and production value than they are with calling the in-ring action, something hardcore fans like me have grown to despise. But I understand why they do it. It makes it more pleasable to the younger generation. Unless you have someone like me who understands and explains, hey little Johnny, it didn't used to be this way. I'll show you some classic stuff down the road, and you'll see how good it used to be and why I used to be a fan of it. But what WWE needs to realize is, since you do have aspects of sporting in it, whether it's wins or losses, it's very difficult to get behind a wrestler, male or female, who wins as much as they lose. You need people to start winning consistently. I'm not saying they can't lose every now and again. Losing's just part of it. No wrestler has ever gone undefeated. Even the great Andre the Giant, who went 15 years before he suffered his first loss, did eventually lose, and that was important because it showed that he was human and beatable. So losses are important. But in order to get a rally to show that a wrestler that the company believes in is actually special to them, it is becoming increasingly important that they win and win on a consistent basis. WWE has chosen to abandon this, and this is why I'm not excited for the current WrestleMania card, because it's very predictable as far as who's going to win and who's going to lose. Look at the four matches we know. The Diva Triple Threat. 3 good lady wrestlers. Regardless of what your opinion is on Charlotte, and believe me, I've fallen hard on Charlotte in the past. But she is a fantastic in-ring performer. Becky Lynch is perhaps the best NXT call-up never to hold the Women's Championship. And Sasha Banks is not only a phenomenal in-ring performer, but she's also what I consider to be the most over female competitor currently on the main roster, at least until they decide to bring Bayley up. But the reason I say this match is predictable is because we know it's going to end up coming down to most likely Sasha Banks winning taking the title away from Charlotte after a very long and lengthy women's title reign. And I'd be fine with that if it was a one-on-one match. Throwing Becky in there, while it does add to aspects of things that you can do in the match, let's face it, with her past performances, solid though they are, if you're looking at Becky Lynch out there to actually gain the title, I hope you're ready for another big pile of disappointment, because unfortunately that's exactly what you're going to get. Let's look at Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar. I mean, Dean Ambrose is a fantastic competitor. He gives everything he can to the fans and to make the match look as good as possible. Excuse me, everyone, I had to silence my dog. But, getting back to Dean Ambrose, he gives everything he can to make the match look good. And the fact that they put him against Brock Lesnar in a street fight gives him a chance to put up a believable battle against a man who has been booked to look not all that unlike a mythical creature, something that's unbeatable. A prospect of facing Brock Lesnar. You come into that match knowing you are going to get your butt kicked by Brock Lesnar. But by adding weapons, you give Ambrose a chance to fight back and look like he could get Lesnar in trouble. But in the end of the day, if Brock Lesnar doesn't go over against Dean Ambrose, get the win, I'll be as shocked as I was when Lesnar beat Taker at 30. The match is going to be predictable. And it also boggles my mind that the Wyatt family eliminated Brock Lesnar after he eliminated them from the Royal Rumble, and there have been next to no repercussions. However, I will say, in fairness, I haven't watched SmackDown at all to see if there's been any follow-up. If one of my loyal subscribers wants to post down in the comments below whether Lesnar has gotten any sort of revenge on the Wyatts, I'd greatly appreciate it. But I'm fine with not seeing a Lesnar Wyatt match because I'm not in the mood to see my favorite stable lose on the big stage or on another pay-per-view stage again, which has happened basically since the inception of the Wyatts, with the only exception being Bray Wyatt's match against Kane at SummerSlam, which was supposed to be an Inferno match, but they decided not to have anybody burn, so they called it a Ring of Fire. I don't know. I think they screwed that up. But anyway, we have Roman Reigns against Triple H. I'm sure this will be a good match because Roman Reigns has really improved his in-ring work. So he's a lot better, and we know Triple H can make people better because of how good he is in the ring. Unfortunately, whether WWE knows it or not, this experiment is to make Roman into your next big babyface. Mark it down as a complete and total abject failure. The fans are not accepting Roman Reigns as a babyface. Now, there are two things you could do to make this match better, as far as giving the fans a conclusion they can at least get behind. One of them is just an idea that came out of my head, and it can't happen because I don't know how one part of the equation that I'm about to state to you is going to be ready to take his spot back at the next pay-per-view. In fact, more than likely he won't be, but it would be more interesting at least, so give me this. Let's say, because the expectation far and wide right now is that Roman is going to beat Triple H at WrestleMania. But let's say for a second that Triple H does what nobody expects and retains the title. Well then, how interesting would it be when Seth Rollins shows up and initially is, hey, Triple H, you did a great job. Thanks for keeping my belt for me. I'll take it back now. Expecting, because Rollins is the golden boy, right? Surely the Authority is going to hand the title back to their golden boy, but we know Triple H isn't. And then you set it up where Rollins comes in as the unexpected babyface, which you can pull off because I know people will be excited to see Rollins when he does come back. So you could easily capitalize on that and at least give him a brief run as a babyface to see how it goes. Or the more logical thing, since Roman is what you're looking for in the long-term future while you rebuild your roster that is in shambles due to injury, would be if Roman beats Triple H and then his cousin, The Rock, is going to be there, and you have Roman turn on The Rock and switch him heel, and then you have Roman cut a promo, very stern, very to the point, but using some of that charisma that I know Roman Reigns does have. He could be like, you know what I did to The Rock? I did it because I gave the fans everything. I gave you guys my body, I gave you my heart, and you threw it back in my face. So you know what? I didn't do that to The Rock. Your reaction to me did that to The Rock. You want to blame me for what happened to The Rock? Blame yourselves for not accepting me. I tried to be what you wanted, you didn't take it, so now I'm going to be the man I want to be. These are the kinds of creativeness that I want to see out of WWE. And now we come to the big sticking point. Hell in a Cell with Undertaker and Shane McMahon? Shane McMahon, that's your idea. And remarkably, there are 78% of the people on a poll that I saw on WrestlingInc.com that have since been taken down that are actually looking forward to this match. Have you thought about how terrible booking this is, WWE? Let's think about this for a second. I know you may think you can throw anything out there, and now that the streak is broken, it doesn't matter, right? That's probably your way of thinking. But think about this. WrestleMania this year is in Texas, Taker's home state. I'm not going to say that the fans would riot or anything, but what I do believe is that if you have Undertaker lose to Shane McMahon in a Hell in a Cell match, even if it's by setup, a wrestler coming down to save Shane McMahon, which you have done before with more higher quality wrestlers in the past, how well is that going to be received? Now, let's flip the coin. Let's say for a second Undertaker wins like he should. Well, then this story that you've set up where if Shane wins the Hell in a Cell match, he gets control of Raw. But if Shane loses, you have no story. So you've essentially made yourself dead in the water, and you've made Taker fight perhaps the most irrelevant opponent he's ever faced in his illustrious career at WrestleMania, and you've done more harm than good. When you look at it on the whole, WrestleMania isn't set up to wow me in any way, shape, or form. In fact, this may be the least I've looked forward to a WrestleMania in my entire time as a wrestling fan. And this is a rare statement. Mark it down, WWE, because even the ranter doesn't have any idea how to begin to fix this. Anyway, I just wanted to come on and vent some of my frustration with the current WWE product. I'll catch you guys later. Ranter off the soapbox. Have a great day. Bye-bye.